Hello, everybody. You're listening to the BlinkCast Podcast. We are your hosts.
Christian.
Reed.
Chris.
Mustafa.
And I'm Christian. We're here to talk about video games and general campus news.
Alright, so campus news would be we have a new booth now. The DJ booth for our campus radio that's called kdsu.net. We rearranged the booth, so we're definitely going to stream this show sooner or later on campus radio. So that's going to be one big thing that's coming up. Also, we're going to have more legit shows now, which is going to be really nice, so we can make this podcast into a legit thing. We're really looking forward to that, and that's kind of our goal with this thing anyway, so that's going to be a great thing. Other campus news, we have the International Language Day coming up. That's going to be, I think...
on the 21st February.
21st of February, yeah. We're going to have that on campus, obviously, and kind of have people, introduced to all the different languages that are represented on campus.
And what all is that about? Like, what do you guys do there?
Well, we basically just have a couple of booths, not booths, like little, tables set up in the Spectrum Lounge on campus and just talk about different languages and all that kind of stuff.
With all the flags on the walls.
Yeah. Basically, all the students that are from foreign countries are just going to be there representing,
Such as two of our hosts there.
Yeah, obviously I'm going to represent Germany, It's going to be really cool.
Yes, and I'll represent Bangladesh.
Bangladesh?
Yes, Bangladesh. Because we bang a French prostitute named Ladesh.
Oh, God.
Okay.
And this is where this is where we've started. Okay, good start to the podcast.
Yeah, alright, so about gaming related news for campus, there wasn't really a lot going on. I was in the latest game design club meeting. We talked about Nanocom a little bit, started playing that. Well, you can't really call it started planning, we talked about it. We have the Chinese New Year event coming up. That's basically going to be, Chinese New Year starts a little later, and it's the thing where you have all the dragons and whatnot. So we're going to have a little event going on about that. Have some music playing and we try on campus basically to get a lot of clubs intervening with each other. We want people to interact with different clubs, and that's why we have KDSU, and we have our podcast thing, and we have KDSU playing on the International Club being there on Campus New Year, and then we have the Gaming Club being there for Campus New Year. And we're going to try to make more events that make all the clubs combine. And obviously we have the Gaming Club, which meets every Thursday, and we have them kind of helping out with food and concessions and kind of stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's basically what there's going on campus right now. There isn't a lot. I mean, the only thing I forgot to mention right now would be the Blacklight Dance that's coming up. And I think that is the 20th or 22nd, I'm not quite sure. We have DJ Core coming in. He's a really, really good guy. He has a really unique style of hard cutting and performing sets live, so that's really nice.
We do have a laser tag tournament going on.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
It's $100 for a team or $20 per person.
It's hosted by PBL, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I actually saw those guys, and we had this day where all the clubs were introducing themselves, the beginning of the semester. They had those guns, and they were really nice. They told me those guns were tons of money. They're really expensive.
So they're legit laser tag guns?
It's outside. It's not like in a, when you have in the back of the Walmart or something, when you have a little plastic arena set up.
The back of a wall? I did not know that.
Walmart did that. In a mall or something, when you have a little laser tag thing. It's like a black light room, and there's a kind of plastic, boxes, I guess, and you run around and try and shoot each other with this weird... weird.
Look, when you're 8 years old, that is the shiz right there.
That's the shit for you? Sitting in a black room and shooting each other with little BB guns?
When you're 8. Dude, when you're 8.
I thought this was America. When you're 8, you get your first gun, isn't it?
You just, that's welcome to it's America.
Yeah, whatever. So, laser tag tournament, that's going on. But then again, it's $100 per team?
Yeah, that's for 5 people.
All right, okay, that makes sense.
So 20 per person.
Right, but so far, there isn't really a lot going on campus. The classes start to have their first major exams right now, so there's a lot of studying going on campus. Well, there's supposed to be a lot of studying going on.
Oh, I've studied. I stayed up till 5 a.m. one morning.
You don't count
studying for a test that was supposed to be at 8 o'clock that day, and the website was down. So I got 2 hours of sleep, 5 hours of studying, and I could barely stay awake through my last class.
Well, every morning at 4 a.m. they reset the network, so you have to log in again.
Yeah.
We found that out at Game Jam.
Oh, yeah. That was quite fun. All right, so that's basically all for campus-related news. So that's pretty much all I can say about that. So what else is going on? We have a lot of news in the gaming industry, that's for sure, right?
Yeah, one thing I actually wanted to talk about was... Have any of you guys played Dead Space 3 at all?
Not yet, but I know someone who has played it a lot and told me a lot about it.
Have you seen what EA has done with the game? They seem to have a trend going on, like Mass Effect 3, now Dead Space 3, where they just want to milk the hell out of their consumers.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a couple of things that I heard with, like, the biggest things they changed was it's not a co-op game. It's now co-op, right? The entire campaign is basically available in co-op mode. It's not in a, like, scary setting anymore.
Yep, they also made a crafting setting too.
Well, to be fair, they made the game open-ended, right?
The game was never really that terrifying.
Okay,
it
was play it?
Yes,
dude,
it was
more
more
selling it as a horror story.
It was more of a. I picture it more like Resident Evil 4 was.
It's
like
Resident Evil in space.
Sorry, yeah, it was like terrifying at parts, but it wasn't terrifying because it's like, oh no, monsters. It was terrifying because there was a guy that was like 40 times my size trying to squish me, and I had to dodge underneath his club. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I like Dead Space. I'm just saying it was never really that terrifying. It was more jump scares.
That's the jump scare part. It's in movies. It's the same thing. That's the only thing that really scares you.
I think jump scares is kind of lazy writing, but at the same time, it gives it a horror setting. I get what they're for.
All things are all about. Like Amnesia, it's literally the jump scares because you have the
I
suspension.
disagree with that. Amnesia's because there's these monsters you're constantly hearing, but you never see them.
They're building tension, and then you're scared of them like jumping on you.
Actually, no, you're not scared of them jumping out at you. You're scared of them being anywhere. You're scared. You're wondering if these halfway through the game you start wondering.
It's basically like a predicted jump scare. You're waiting for
Yes.
them.
It's like in one level you're like in an underground lake at the reservoir. It's totally pitch black. You can't see anything, but you can hear the monsters breathing. So right then, you're afraid that something, you don't know what it is, it'll just go up and gank you.
It uses more like a psychological fear rather than actually... But see, here's the problem with Amnesia, though. At one point, you do see the monster. You see the face looking... And yeah, it's freaky because... unlike most games, I think any game where you get a gun is no longer a horror game in my eyes. It's more of a horror survival. Amnesia... If this monster comes running at you, your choice is run or die, and even if you run, chances are you're going to die. If he sees you, you're pretty much done. But the problem is after you've actually seen the monster, it's like, okay, now he's just some jerk that tries to kill me. Now he's no longer this thing I fear. He's this guy who's like, oh, dang it, it's him again. Oh, I'm dead. Now, damn it, I have to start again kind of thing. It loses a lot of its fear factor after you see the monster.
So it's like all those Jaws movies where you're really scared in the first half, but after you see the monster and it's like this big, fake, phony piece of plastic, you're like, oh, it's just that thing.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to say the monster does look pretty terrifying in Amnesia. Mm-hmm. But that's the gist of what But actually, what I wanted, my take on this, I wanted to bring out was the fact that microtransactions... EA has put microtransactions in Dead Space 3. They're selling a $60 game that has microtransactions. You want that badass gun that you don't get till the end of the game? Buy it. You're running out of ammo? Buy it with real-life money.
No. You have to buy ammo with real-life money?
You don't have to. It gives you the option to literally, from the very beginning of the game, just buy everything.
I did not hear about that whatsoever.
So you're basically bribing yourself to victory.
Basically, you are literally buying...
Stupid. Who buys that?
But see, here's the thing, and I don't know how many of you guys watch a YouTuber called Total Biscuit, but he brought up a good fact. It's basically like you're buying cheat codes. That's what it used to be in the game. Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas. I type in a code, I got infinite money, I got a jetpack to go flying around. They're literally selling you these things. You can't
compare that with GTA because it was an open world.
You could just give it an example.
I'm just giving an example. But it's a single player game, so those things should already be like. If you want to include them in, like, I want infinite ammo. You know what that was in Resident Evil 4? An unlockable thing. And Resident Evil 4 is in the same genre.
Resident Evil 4, you could get unlimited ammo.
Yeah, there was.
How?
After you beat the game on a certain difficulty,
a couple of times.
on a certain difficulty, you could unlock guns that had just infinite ammo.
But that's defeating the entire purpose of the game because in Resident Evil 4...
And that's not...
Resident Evil 4 and 5, and I think 6, the main thing is that you don't have ammo. Unless you play on easy mode, you never have ammo.
And that's the problem that Dead Space has, is the fact that you will have ammo. You know why? If you're starting to run out of ammo and you're really concerned about it, they let you buy the ammo.
That is so stupid.
Like, and if your suit isn't good enough for you, you just buy the new suit. And granted, this stuff is accessible in-game. Meaning... They're literally making you pay to progress faster, which doesn't that defeat the purpose of a game?
Purpose of playing the game.
I can understand a multiplayer game like, oh, these guys are higher level than me and I just want to catch up. That doesn't really hurt things too much. It's not really giving you extra power. It's just letting you get to where they are faster. Versus a single player game, it's like, who are you trying to catch up to? You're literally just ruining the game for yourself. If you want to make the game easier, go play it on easy mode. That's what it's there for.
Exactly.
I wonder who they're marketing this towards.
This is really...
This is toward all the social gamers. I mean, think about all the games that Zynga has come out with, and they let you purchase all these little add-ons and things that you can help catch up faster, and they're trying to make as much money as they did.
I'm not a big fan of that, though. Like, I did not hear about that. I heard a lot about Dead Space 3. I heard that it's not as dangerous anymore. I mean, it's not as scary at all. It lost a lot of its, atmosphere because it's now a little bit open. Like, you're not in a spaceship with, like, a lot of electricity stuff anymore. Kind of like open world, if I'm correct. And one thing I heard was kind of funny. You know how we have that really special suit that's kind of making you overnatural and stuff? And it lets you go in space and you can, like, have oxygen in there and stuff.
Yeah, for a short time.
And then you go onto an ice planet and you need a fur to stay warm.
I think that sounds kind of cool in my eyes.
Okay, if you can survive in space where it's like way below like zero.
Okay.
And then you go on an ice planet where it's just about -0.
You got a good point
there. And then
there.
you have like a fur suit, really? I mean that's weird,
I
but
guess
whatever.
it's the rule of cool.
But then again,
that makes sense.
I had no idea about the microtransactions, and I hate microtransactions.
Literally day one, I believe there was 11 DLC the day the game came out that you could. I mean, there's a couple things in there that are actually pretty neat, like just some cosmetic stuff, and I'm okay with that.
Cosmetic stuff is always nice.
Yeah, you can't really argue against cosmetic stuff on day one, but at least they didn't completely repeat the incident with Mass Effect 3, where it was basically an entire portion of the game that they're like, hey, day one, we developed it before the game came out, but we're not giving it to you.
The only game so far that I actually agree with that, with day one not day one DLC, but like DLC that was on the CD, was Gears of War 3, because they were done with the main game way before the release date, and the game had so much like stuff in it already, and then they added some more stuff to it for later. So it wasn't even. I think I got the season. I'm a huge fan of Gears of War, and I got the Gears of War 3 midnight release. And what it was on the horde mode. It's kind of like I guess you could call it. Well, yeah, it's a horde mode. Basically, what it is. I mean, you all know what that is. And what you could do now in Gears of War 3 is you can build structures. So you could build like a little gun that would help you shoot, or like a bar that wouldn't allow enemies to go through this specific area and stuff like that. And there was a couple of maps, I think, and upgrades. So there's a special suit you can buy, and that was on the CD, and it wasn't even that expensive. It was like $5, and I get that because they had so much stuff and so much things to do and so many levels and so much quantity stuff on the CD already that it would be really stupid to not like ask for a little more. If you would also get that. Then
why didn't they release the game, then work on that stuff?
Because when you work on a AAA game that's been announced for years and you have the release date, you can't say, oh, we're done a little earlier, just release it early. You can't do that.
Then you add and polish to the game. Did that game have bugs in it at all?
I do not recall anything like that.
Because, see, to me, when you are done with maybe this is just coming from my perspective as someone who's been in the game design type industry for quite a long time, if you're done with your game, then you add to it. You add new features. Maybe not new features. Features are done. You add things like...
you polish it out.
Yeah, you polish it. You add more armors. For instance, if Skyrim got done, which, by the way, it wasn't done before that. It's buggy piece of mess. But anyways, if Skyrim got done 3 months before the development got over with, or before the release date was announced, sorry, I think then they should start adding things in that don't take a lot of time, like modeling new armors, things like that, and not sell them as DLC. Obviously, Skyrim's a bad example because you can't really sell much DLC with Skyrim because of the modding.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm very happy about the modding community, and when they release DLC, I still support them just because, once again, they've been so supportive of their title.
The thing is, though, that we're talking about marketing here. And it's if it was like, us guys who were like Team Blink, we made a game on Global Game Jam, right? Let's say we're done the first day, we would probably spend the rest of the weekend just adding, fun textures to it, making it look nicer. That's fine. But if you have a gigantic project that like tons of people work, like thousands and 10,000 of people work on, and then you have this huge like fan base, and they're all waiting for that game to be released, and you're done with the game, and you're done polishing it. You know that there's gotta be some DLC in the future, and I disagree with that structure, but that's just how it works nowadays. So why would they spend like more time of their time they're getting paid for, because that's when the release date is?
Even DLC takes money to make, right? You know what that money could have used for it instead? Q&A. The more Q&A a game gets, the better it would be ultimately.
And one point to make, I just want to point out this fact. Around the last month or month and a half of a game's development cycle, it actually is not being developed because of Microsoft and Sony's licensing. While for the PC, they can just throw it on Steam with very little hassle if they've had a game on Steam before. But with the Xbox and the PS3 and the Wii, they actually have to go through a lengthy licensing process, which does take about a month, in which time I've actually been told by some developers what they'll do is they do things like they'll add new sounds, add new graphics, little things like that, and that's where our day one cosmetic DLC comes from, is those artists have nothing to do. The programmers are sitting there polishing things up here and there, but the artists have nothing to do. There's no new assets to create, so they're the ones who make that cosmetic DLC you see.
Well, you're kind of missing my point, and what I'm trying to say is I don't agree with that, but that's just how it works nowadays. If they were paid to do that and they're done early, why would they spend money? I mean, from the perspective of the producer, why would they spend money on polishing things that are technically done? Like, I mean, of course you could always add new textures, but if they have the main thing, why would you add more to that if you could just make a DLC and then know that people will pay for that? I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it's just how it works nowadays. And if you think about it from the eyes of the producer, it wouldn't make sense to use your resources and time that way. So I don't agree with that, but that's sadly how it works. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, Christian, what would you rather have in your game? A new red suit, or being able to walk from point A and point B without falling into an invisible hole?
That is a weird question. But then you think, okay, you think.
Well, that's what Q&A is all
about. If that would happen,
about.
Obviously, it would fix that. I mean, I really can't find an example for that kind of crazy.
Because I've seen games where that literally happens. You can't move from point A to point B.
I'm going to have to call you out on that one. Name the game.
I played Far Cry 3 soon after it came out. There was a day one pass though, but there was a bit of a glitch with the pathing system.
I guess I can actually side with this on here too. I also remember a game called Dead Island that on day one I had bought the game and you could literally fly. I hit the Y button and it makes your character disappear and gives you the ability to fly. You can fly around the island. I flew onto a rooftop, a cutscene started, and that was the end of the game. I ended up flying straight to the end cutscene of the game, and later that day you found out the reason why, because they put out a patch that they didn't release the game, they released the developer version of the game with all the debugging tools still in it and all the glitches still not fixed.
Wow.
That kind of thing.
Okay, that's obviously not a failure of the programming team using their time and money for DMC. That's obviously an error. Again, an error in the release. Yeah. That's embarrassing. That should not happen.
Yeah,
that's definitely not happen.
I'm happy just to share that story. That is kind of.
That's hilarious.
I thought that was a funny story because I was playing with my friend and I'm like, why am I like, you can see me right now? He's like, yeah, but you're up in the air. I'm like, how am I? And I just flew around and sure enough, there's the end of the game.
We should kind of close that point. I just want to say again that obviously if I was to play Gears of War 3 and the final cutscene wouldn't start because there was a bug of me not being able to pass away, then obviously I would be pissed if they have DLC on the CD that I can't access yet, but I can't finish the game. But the game was perfect, and I loved the story, and I made a ton of fun playing it. And then I was happy that once I was done with the entire content, the amount of content was already on there, then I was happy that there was something else available. And of course, you never want to pay for that, but if you think about the amount of content that was developed, it's definitely worth $5.
For games that do offer day one DLC, they normally do it as a preventative to buying it used, because game companies, they don't get money if you sell a used game at a used game store. So they put that in for people to give them a little incentive to get it day one or buy it new.
There's different ways.
I see what you're saying.
There is different ways they can do that, though. Also, it's to help the sale of pre-orders, because a lot of pre-orders will come with, hey, you get these unique weapons, and I'm okay with that once again because adding any unique weapon doesn't take that much time. It's just probably something the art team threw together, and it was probably easy just to throw in there along with the rest of them.
Yeah.
And basically what I am not okay with is things like the Mass Effect DLC is a perfect example of it. I like, say, the Borderlands 2 style of it. They said, hey, you're going to get this DLC new character, and there was a huge uprising about, like, what? Day one DLC, and they had to calm everyone down. They're like, no, we haven't started working on this yet. We've come up with concept art for it, and we're going to make it in the coming months, and you get it for free for pre-ordering. I think that's a much better system than saying, you know, or just not buying a used copy and having it come with a code that will work later down the line.
Yeah, we definitely have some more problems going on with that, but...
Yeah, well, speaking of second-hand games, Christian, isn't it true that the Xbox, the 720 or whatever they're going to call it, it's going to take steps to prevent second-hand games?
Actually,
that's a rumor going on, yeah.
We had that news story, I think, on a couple websites, but I saw on a post that the second this rumor actually got viral, Microsoft and the Xbox, all those fan pages on Facebook, actually had a couple of requests on if you would rather play your game as a downloaded file, like download it and then play it on your console, or if you actually prefer a CD, which we all know is like a huge market is the used games. I mean, GameStop, you can buy used games for like
game companies
really
would
cheap.
love it if they could just put those brick and mortar retailers out of business.
PC players usually never have, because nowadays
we can't return our games.
No one really buys any more games on CD. I mean, obviously you could, but why would you want to do that? I mean, really, why would you want to do that?
Funnily enough, I had a friend who I was building his PC for him, and he asked me the question, well, if I don't have a CD drive, how am I supposed to play games?
Yeah.
You know, that shows something, though. That shows people who play consoles generally don't think of there to be much of another solution to the problem because of the limitations of today's consoles.
That's how consoles are supposed to work, though. They're more casual. You know, you come together with a couple of friends and you want to play. Let's say you want to play Dead Space 3, and you was like, all right, open the CD drive.
You don't worry about technical problems or settings. You throw in a disc and it works.
It's just about gameplay.
It's just about it works, and I think that's great. They're definitely more cost efficient, and in terms of just working, it works. PC gaming is more of a hobby.
Yeah, for console gaming, you just don't have to commit, right, Reed?
PS3 is taking actions toward doing that, actually. They have what's called the PlayStation Plus right now. It's like a $50 membership fee. It's optional.
Yes.
And then when you pay that, you get free games every single month, and you get to download free trials. You get Little Big Planet 2 for free.
I believe that we talked about that a little bit we touched a bit on the last podcast, or that was...
Yeah, PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, it's actually a really cool deal. I think Microsoft should definitely learn from that, because I want to call bullshit on Microsoft here. You pay X amount of dollars a month, I think it's like $10 a month last time I checked, to have which advertises to you. That's called double dipping, and I'm not okay with that.
But they actually are planning on changing that. I don't know if you guys remember NanoCon and all, but I met a guy that actually says like he's working on, like he's testing all those beta dashboards and whatnot. And you all know like a new Xbox dashboard is basically like a gigantic billboard. The only things I use is there's a little square that says play game, then there's a little square that says few apps, and then out of that I'll play YouTube and Netflix.
They're trying to universalize everything. In case you haven't noticed, I don't know if any of you have tried Windows 8.
Oh yeah.
But Windows 8 is the exact same on a phone. It's the exact same on a tablet. It's the exact same on a PC. And it's now, I actually had, my cousin came up to me and asked how I was playing Xbox on my laptop. Apparently, I haven't seen the Xbox dashboard lately, but it looks just like Windows 8 does.
Yeah, and exactly what this guy told me last year is that he's actually, like, Microsoft knows that people do not like this, and no one actually goes on Xbox and they see an advertisement for Mitt Romney, which they actually had during the campaigns.
That's terrible.
They had an advertisement for Mitt
You're
Romney.
You're paying to get advertisements.
And Obama, they had like little
Mitt Romney style.
Yeah, it was quite weird because no one does it. Like if you have a job and you come home and you want to just screw all this, let's just play some Gears of War and kill some grubs, right? You power up your Xbox, you have the Xbox screen, and you put in your CD, and then you want to play the game. Maybe you want to check with your friends and see if anyone wants to join you, but that's all you want to do. Either that or Netflix. You don't really want to do anything else with your console. That's what consoles are for. And
something I want to bring up is PS3 and now the Wii U, which is more online relevant than the Wii was, both of those are free. And a lot of people, when I say that, they'll make the argument, but Xbox Live has more features and it's better. Well, here's the thing. when we're judging internet service, let's not judge it by the features it has, because PS3, their user interface might be a little bit clunky, but it can do everything that the Xbox interface can.
Can I just say one thing? Hackers. PS3's network was hacked twice.
That is a good point there, but that has nothing to do with their network, though. Well, okay, I'm sorry, that has everything to do with their network.
Exactly.
But that has nothing to do with the fact that they don't charge you money for it.
They actually forgot to update their servers twice, which is why they got hacked.
Well, there you go. That's a problem on their end, not with the actual service itself. If they had kept up their jobs.
Well, let's just put it this way. Which has a larger online base?
The 360,
Xbox, but
and
that's because more console units are sold.
And that's what I have a problem with, is that's the number one argument people will make to me, is that, well, it's got a bigger user base. That doesn't mean you should have to pay for it every month. You can literally hook your Xbox into the internet, and it has all that information. It just won't let you access it until you pay $10 a month and watch advertisements.
But now, see, I'm kind of here facing the devil, but the thing is, you have to look out of the perspective of the people who actually provide that. If you have the bigger internet, if you player base, they say, I'm just making up numbers, but I'm guessing the ratio would be 3-1. I'm pretty sure 3-1. About that, right? 3 people have an Xbox, 1 person has to play PS3, maybe?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
And then again, the Microsoft and the Xbox have more exclusive games that are multiplayer, while on PlayStation it's not the case. I mean, I know Uncharted, for example, and doesn't have multiplayer, but every single other game.
Yeah. PS3 has
but it's not the main part.
Exclusives.
No, well, that's because you shouldn't have to play multiplayer on a game. It should all be having fun yourself. You don't want to rage at someone else.
Exactly. The multiplayer in Uncharted 3 is, I'm pretty sure, just was added on to be there, so they could write on the box, multiplayer included.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot
For
nowadays.
Xbox, you have Halo, you have Gears of War. Those are all games that either encourage, like Halo obviously is not really only for the story. Halo has a gigantic online community.
Yes, I can agree with that.
And Gears of War, playing by yourself is possible, but just really, really bad. I mean, Gears of War is about the story of this the squad. And especially now with the 4-player co-op, that's how it's meant to be played. Because you get attached to every single player and every single person in that story. So if you compare the games, Xbox games are more likely to be played online. So to keep this entire network stable and working with a good ping and everything, you need to have a better quality online network.
The thing is, that's not what Xbox Live does. That is actually provided by the developer, not Microsoft. The developer provides, and actually on console, usually the developer doesn't provide that. They have a system called peer-to-peer, where it sets up a temporary server on your Xbox, which other people play on. Call of Duty is run that way. The Modern Warfare series, not the Black Ops series, is run that way, where you don't have a dedicated server. It's just Xbox to Xbox. One acts as a server and hosts everything. And
companies like Activision, they actually host the servers that keep all the player information on them. So after they get done supporting the game, they destroy their own servers and then use them for the next game.
Yeah, now games like Halo obviously is going to be supported by Microsoft because I believe it was made by Microsoft. Originally, so I suppose, but usually it's the producer or the developer that keep the servers up running. I've actually seen a lot of developers after the producer stopped supporting the server. Servers are actually not as expensive to run as people think, so the developer will help keep it up. They spend $10,000 a year. It might sound like a big expense for us, but for a developer,
that's
not so much. So they can keep that server up and running. That's why you see games from back in the 90s still have servers running, and if they don't, they'll use that peer-to-peer system so that the game multiplayer can never truly die. So Xbox Live, the features that it actually hosts itself are the voice chat, downloading games from the indie marketplace, your friends list, things like that. The game itself actually isn't run through the Xbox Live at all.
Well, I'm pretty sure it plays a role somewhere, but I think you might be right on that. And then I don't have a PlayStation, and I actually sold my Xbox for a PC, which is obviously better.
Yeah,
but,
PC Master Race.
PC Master Race and all
glorious
that.
PC Master Race.
But
I don't know how far the PlayStation Network goes. I mean, I know it is unstable. I
can attest to that. Actually, I played on my PS3 way more than I played on my 360, just because everything that comes out on 3C comes out on PC. Or I'm sorry, everything comes out on 360 comes out on PC. Yet the PS3 still has exclusives that I can't play, so that's why I still play my PS3 from time to time. And I had so many connectivity issues with Little Big Planet,
Especially the updating games, I think. I mean, I don't have a PlayStation 3, but
updating
I see it
takes
all the time.
forever, yes.
Yes, and that's just something that if you have more people using it, it's just getting more and more expensive to provide. Again, you said that it's not necessarily the games, but still out of the perspective of the marketing, you rather have your player pay a little fee if you compare it to other prices, and therefore ensure that they have the game when they need it, instead of giving them free and then say, well, you don't pay for it, so you might as well not complain if it's slow. So that's then
but
again.
At the same time, I'm not a marketer. I'm a consumer. I should not have to worry about what marketing wants. I should have to worry about the consumer base and what the consumer wants. And that's what a good marketing team does, is they don't look at it from how can we milk our user base. Look at Valve, for instance. Now, okay, I shouldn't use Valve. Valve is a very special example in that Valve is so filthy rich that they could literally give you games for free and they would still turn a profit over it somehow. Look at Team Fortress 2. It's free. They have a little store there. That store does not completely cover the cost of what it costs to run Team Fortress 2, but they have Steam. And what is Team Fortress 2 for? It's basically an advertisement because you can only get it on Steam. So it gets users onto Steam, they buy games on Steam, so on and so forth. But what I'm saying is, you can market things in alternative ways, such as through advertisements. Go the Google way. Throw an ad on something, and then make it free. I think if Xbox Live had those advertisements, I wouldn't be nearly as bad as if they said, you can either have the ads and get it for free, or pay the $10 a month, and you won't have ads.
That would make a little more sense.
I think that would be...
That's kind of how RuneScape works, actually.
Yeah. That's how a lot of...
you still play RuneScape?
I don't still play RuneScape, but everyone has.
That's how a lot of things work. Look at
even
websites or apps on the Android Marketplace. I'm sorry, the Google Play Store. Apps on there, a lot of them, a majority of them, will say, here's the free version. You can buy the paid version for 99 cents. The paid version doesn't have an app. The free version does. I think that's a great way to market, saying, we'll still make money even if you don't pay for it. That's an awesome marketing strategy.
Either way, you win.
Yeah, otherwise, it's better for the consumer. It gives them options. It's better for the developer. It gives them new ways of getting profit. And more often than none, when you make a game free and stick an ad in it, it's been proven that you often make more money that way. Because more people are willing to try it. And even if a million people try it once, that's a million people you just got ad revenue for once. That's more than you would have had before.
It's kind of like Lord of the Rings Online. That used to be a pay-to-play game, and then after it went for free, they got like 4 times more people that visit their site and download the game.
There is a lot of success stories with that. The big one I know of is DC Universe Online. I wanted to try that, but I didn't want to pay monthly for it.
It's on the PS3 now.
Yeah, it's always been on the PS3. It originally came out on it, actually. It was actually, I think, one of the first MMOs ever made for a console, even though, from what I hear, it didn't do so well on the console. But anyways, they were basically done. They had shut down all their servers except one and said, okay, everyone just plays on this one. And then they announced, okay, we're making it free to play. Literally, overnight, they crashed that server so many times that people couldn't play for days because they had, I believe it was 400,000 new users that just joined up immediately within that first 24-hour period.
Just to my point, I definitely don't agree with that, how they milk users and everything. And I played these universes because of that reason. And the thing why I think it's so good is because it is an MMORPG. But it's played so uniquely, and it's not that, when you have the clunky MMORPG, like you always walk on the ground and you walk to a mob and you punch him a couple of times and you press some numbers.
Yeah, it's more of a real-time combat system.
Yeah, and it's really cool.
Even though it's layered under the hood, it's the exact same thing. You cannot... But you almost can never attack multiple people. I mean, you can. It's more of a hit scan thing than an actual real-time thing, but it's hidden so well under the hood that it makes you feel like you're just playing a hack and slash game.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I like it.
That's what's wonderful about it. Games like Guild Wars 2 and Terra also use the same system where you aren't... it isn't technically, your sword hits it gets hit. It's more of a tab-based targeting system, but it's so hidden, deliberately hidden underneath the hood that you never notice it because... you swing that sword, everyone in its path gets hit.
The thing that I when we talk about free MMORPGs, I started playing Star Wars: The Old Republic recently, and I love it. But I tried different classes, and the only class I can enjoy is the Jedi Knight and the Jedi Counselor, because when you actually shoot with the troopers or the smugglers, you see the damage before the animation of the shot actually hits your target. And I think
that's not only really a lack of polish, but I can actually say, knowing what engine they use, I believe it's called the Hero engine. It has a lot of problems with latency in terms of, I know when the game originally came out, you could literally click on a button and your person would not even perform the attack until several seconds later when they would actually fire, that gun.
The damage would be calculated.
And the damage would already be calculated before they shot, and the person would be hurt before they even drew their gun.
Yeah.
And they fixed that for the most part, but as you said, now it's still off, and that's just a problem with the Hero engine. It's really hard to fix that.
If they would fix it, I think this game would do a lot better.
And sadly, I don't know, this is another topic I want to bring up later, the Elder Scrolls Online I want to talk about.
We can talk about that later.
Yeah, I just want to say that also used the Hero engine, which kind of scares me.
Hero engine is actually a pretty good tool. I got it when I was in 9th grade for free because I had a 3D artist that would work with me. And it's a pretty unique engine for making MMOs. It's nice and easy. It's almost like Unity.
Oh, yeah?
And students can sometimes get it for free if they have the right team to use it.
Yeah, I've been looking into Unity a lot lately. It's actually a pretty fledged out tool, I can see.
Yeah, just finishing up the Star Wars, I started playing it, and I was a big fan of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. And, obviously that game is now really old, and it gets really repetitive, but at the time, it was really good. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was like, the game for PC had like 4 CDs to install, and the manual was like gigantic. Which is just because, every game would have a manual that gigantic if you would write about everything in the game.
I enjoyed those giant manuals. There was something to read on the car ride home when you were a kid. Is that
It's like when you're so pumped up for the game.
You buy that game.
Just read everything.
I still remember Majora's Mask for the N64. We go out and buy that, and the ride home, you're sitting there flipping through every page.
That's how you attack, and then they tell it to you in game. Yeah, times you're like, I already know that.
We're talking N64 here. How they told you to attack is they split a little button up top that said A, and you just set a button by it.
What I wanted to say though is, I don't really know why Star Wars: The Old Republic actually. I guess I can guess, but I don't really know why it went free to play, because the game itself is amazing.
I can tell you why.
I love the story. I love the gameplay, especially as a Jedi. And, even though we talked about how the smugglers and troopers kind of have this really clunky gameplay mechanic, they're still fun to play. The team play is great, and the graphics are really decent, and it really gives that Star Wars kind of feel. The only reason why it didn't do so well, in my opinion, which I'm guessing, is people expected way too much.
Well, I can actually tell you pretty much the reason why they failed. I've played that game since the day one, when it came out, and basically the problem is they promised a lot for us, and when we got it, it was really fun for a while. The story is their main aspect, and I have to say, I've never played an MMO with better questing than Star Wars: The Old Republic, but that was the problem, is the questing was so nice, and the combat was so the same as I've seen in every MMORPG ever made. Yeah. So I go in there, and don't get me wrong, I think it was better. It was nice and kinetic, because, I could fire a rocket from my arm, and it would hit a guy, and he'd go flying back. I still think it's an improvement, but it wasn't enough of an improvement where it would keep me playing, because I had the same problem that a lot of people did, where they were running to that quest, and then they talk to the guy, and they're loving it, making the dialogue choices, and then they get out of it, and then it's like, now I have to go kill 20 of those things. You go with 20 of those things and come back, and he's like, hey, good job, and he just gives you some reward. And that's the fun part, is actually talking to him. No one really seemed to enjoy the
collect... It's kind of like Mass Effect with the,
go collect 20 bear asses part.
Yeah, it's like you have to make the decisions.
Well, yeah, it was made by BioWare using
and the
same type of.
It's basically what you said. Engine. Yeah, it's we got promised a lot, and it's all there, but it got such a big hype out of it. There's a lot of time and work into it.
It did something that a lot of games can't do, is deliver on the hype.
There's also a big fact that games like World of Warcraft, Guild Wars, Terra, they're all fed off the same user base, so they couldn't support themselves. Players had to choose between one game or the other. And if they didn't have enough players, they couldn't support them.
But look what happened. Notice what happened to all those games, obviously except Guild Wars 2 there, because that's a different business model.
I feel like if Star Wars: The Old Republic would have done it the same way Guild Wars does, like you pay $60 once, I would totally do that. I would definitely buy it for $60.
I would like to say this to every MMO developer out there. Never think about subscription-based models. You know who you're competing with when you do subscription-based? Wow. You know who else you're competing with? No one, because everyone who's come up against them has failed. Don't try it. Don't think that you're that one glorious MMO that's going to bring everyone into the limelight and they're all going to jump from WoW to you. Don't think that. Start off with free-to-play in mind, and you can see how successful that can be. Guild Wars 2 is pumping out a lot of money and a lot of content because they get a steady stream from that gem store that they've had in there from day one. They never once wanted to make this a subscription-based game. And games like DC Universe Online, and you said it was Lord of the Rings Online, you can tell that they started making more money after they went free-to-play than when they did subscription.
But then again, we talked about microtransactions, which is a big deal in MMORPGs. Like, you buy a little pack of experience points and some weapon or something. Especially in Knights of the Old Republic. For me, I'm just using myself as an example. I don't have a lot of money right now, but if I had the money, I would definitely spend $60 once. So whenever I wanted to, I would have full access to the game. And not how we have now that when you play the game, which is a lot of MMORPGs, they constantly remind you that you're basically just like a little player that they just hope sometimes you pay for them. Like, they remind you, you know what, this is a pretty cool game, but if you pay like $10 a month, it will be even better. So stop playing that shitty version of the game, pay every month, and then you have the better game.
I don't like it when it gets intrusive, though. Once again, I'm going to sound like Guild Wars 2 fanboy here. It's probably because I am. But it never once during that game, other than one thing, other than the Black Lion chest, which say you can unlock these without a key. Other than that, there is not a single thing in that game that isn't accessible through normal play. And even that you can get through normal play because you can trade gold, the in-game currency, for real-life money currency. You can actually technically make money with it, even though you can't spend that money on the real world. It has to be spent in-game. But you can... I've never seen another game to do that.
I actually have. It's called Planet Calypso. They have a real-world market value for their money.
And I suppose EVE Online, don't they also do that?
Yes.
Well,
that's pretty
a
recent.
lot of MMORPGs, you know, successful players would sell their accounts.
No.
We're talking
EVE. They actually take the money
you
that you're
convert from real money.
Like, you make the money by doing certain stuff, and then you can take that, you can transfer it from their account to a bank, and the bank will give it to your bank.
Like a legit bank?
Yes.
I know when you sell, like they do in World of Warcraft, where they literally have, like, companies in Korea.
But this is actually... People actually turn profit, real-life money profit from EVE.
Yeah. You can actually...
It's not...
really cool.
There is some people that can actually legitimately make a living off of it, but for the average user, you're not going to be sitting there. Unless you're devoting all your time to that game, I don't think... once again, I've never played it. I've only heard about it.
I know that Planet Calypso, they've been in the... whatever those highest ranking things are, but they've been in those for the highest amount of money made by a single player on online games. 2003, they sold some kind of mansion. He made $400,000 by transferring the money back into his own pocket. There's also a family down in Arizona that made $26 a month by making items in-game and then selling them to other people.
I remember there was another thing that did that. It was like a virtual world online or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember hearing...
Second Life?
I remember hearing so many stories. You know, people would like build a mall and they would sell it for like $100,000 real life money or something like that. I gotta say, I tried that because I was curious one day. That was the most horrible thing I've ever played.
I remember that from The Office, where Dwight makes his... I don't know if you guys watch this, but Dwight makes himself in the game and creates himself creating another world in the game because he was so bored. In his second life, he had a second life. So that was
second
quite
lifeception.
funny.
So it's kind of like watching TV in The Sims or playing
that
virtual reality helmet in The Sims is about the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I am watching a virtual person play a virtual game.
It's like I don't know if that's actually a real game, but in The Onion, you know, that satire news website, they had a game called Play World of Warcraft or something like that, and it's you play a player that plays World of Warcraft, and you command the player commanding the World of Warcraft. So you play there and you say W, and you see your guy pressing W on the keyboard, and then you have to do things like telling your mom that you have to do homework and stuff like that.
I want to imagine you play the guy from the South Park
the fat
World of
guy
Warcraft episode where he's sitting there.
Yeah, it's like Mom. Toilet! Like,
oh god!
But coming back to those microtransactions,
let's get back on topic.
I'm just confused here. There's a lot of games, especially with Warcraft, where players could sell for real money to other players. Like, let's say Diablo 3.
But it's illegal.
That's illegal.
No. Like in Diablo 3, you could make money, like real life money.
Yes. I'm talking about like World of Warcraft. Selling your account is actually
no,
legal.
not your account, but like yeah. Now
that is actually legal by
yeah. I've
Blizzard
actually
terms.
getting a mail because my RuneScape account. Someone's been trying to sell it online, so RuneScape would constantly send me emails. You are not allowed to sell your account online. I'm like, that's not me.
But yes, in Diablo 3, there is a real money auction house, which, to be honest, I think is one of the reasons that the game, it didn't fail, but no one's really playing it anymore.
Oh,
So it kind of failed.
Yeah, yes.
It's for what they expected. They made their quota back, but they didn't make
Torchlight.
But there's still people I know today that play Diablo 2. There is not that as many people I know today playing Diablo 3 as are still playing Diablo 2.
Yeah, I remember when it came out, I didn't play it because obviously it's, again, a AAA game with a lot of money. Like, you pay $60 and then you always have to be online. You remember what's called
Yes,
DRM,
the Error 37. The famous... Blizzard will now always be known for Error 37. The next game they make, that's I guarantee you, this is my prediction, it's going to be a meme on the internet. Blizzard's going to announce a new game, and everyone's immediately going to start going, oh, Error 37, the sequel.
Oh, no, that already happened. SimCity 4.
That's right, they are. That's not Blizzard, though. That's EA.
It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. It's the same problem we're talking about.
But a lot of games have done this. They always on... Try every single game Ubisoft has made in the last, 5 years.
Is that
actually
Far Cry 3?
Yes. No, actually, I believe they learned their lesson finally, because Ubisoft has had this always-on DRM where if you got disconnected from the internet, your game would just shut down.
Their DRMs are actually so bad that pirated versions of their games run better.
That's actually the problem, is that the DRM not only shuts down the game if you lose connection to your internet for less than a second, it also causes the game to run slower simply because it's always processing that. And the fact that you can have lag in a single-player game just baffles me. You're not getting a good connection to the internet. Your single-player game can lag because of a bad internet connection.
That's exactly why I played Torchlight 2. I mean, I got Torchlight 1 because...
Torchlight 2 was amazing.
I pre-ordered Torchlight 2 for $20, and I mean, Torchlight 2 is basically did everything right that Diablo did wrong.
Well, it was made by the makers of Diablo. So.
Yeah, but they knew the mistakes. So I know that the gameplay and the smoothness, if you actually have a good internet connection, Diablo 3 can be much better. Like, the combat is a little bit more intense and more fun.
At the same time...
But then again, you have all those negatives that are totally stupid.
Same time on Torchlight 2, one of the very first guns I got, it allowed me to summon demons. In Diablo 3, I looked at some of the earlier gameplay, it's just same thing over and over.
Well, I haven't played Diablo, really. I tried it on a friend's account, and it was fun. But then again, you have Torchlight 2, which is... It's really similar, but it has its own feel to it. So it is really good.
It does. And, it feels more meaty. Like, when I shoot... I play an Outlander, and when I shoot something, it doesn't just go, and fall down and die with a canned animation.
But it explodes.
It actually explodes into meaty chunks that just fly everywhere. And that's what I like about Torchlight 2, is when I kill something, I feel like I annihilated it. It's got that Borderlands 2 feel, where it's, you didn't just kill him, you overkilled him.
Yeah, it's like the same thing with the single player, though. I played Torchlight 2. It's weird. When I played Torchlight 1, it got really repetitive after level 17.
That was one of the problems.
Because I got, somehow, because I was lucky, I got a really good piece of armor, so I was basically invincible for a long time. And it got really repetitive. Also, I didn't like the interface. So I was like, alright, well, whatever. Went away for Torchlight 2. And now Torchlight 2 had this big multiplayer thing. I didn't like the multiplayer part. I wanted multiplayer in Torchlight 1.
I played all the time with my friends. Well, that's one of the reasons they put it in 2 is... The most requested feature in Torchlight 1 was multiplayer.
Exactly.
And so that was literally, I think they had a trailer devoted to it that said, the players asked for it, so we delivered. And Torchlight 2 multiplayer. And that's basically the trailer.
In Torchlight 2, I don't know if it's... I was playing on... There's, I think, 4 difficult levels. And I played on the 3rd one.
With
a friend. And it was way too easy. And then if you go one more...
on Torchlight 1?
Torchlight 2.
Torchlight 2, really?
Yeah, and then if I went on the highest difficulty with a friend, it would be way too hard, and we would die constantly.
I guess I found, I have never enjoyed a game. Diablo 2, my friend tried to get me in it so many times, I hated it. I hated Diablo 2. I'm going to get killed for saying that sometime tonight. But Torchlight 2, I really enjoyed. I got into it.
No,
and
I loved playing it.
I played on Veteran, and it was too easy for me, but I played on Veteran with a friend, and it seemed to really pick up the difficulty.
But then again, you see, I don't think there's a lot of people who pirate the Torchlight 2. But there's a lot of people who pirate games like, those DRM games. I mean, obviously, if you need online, like Diablo 3 has, you can't really pirate it.
I'll freely admit I have pirated games specifically because I couldn't get the DRM to work.
Yeah, but anyways,
I don't really care if people know. Many people pirate games.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
People often announce that.
It's
not like I do it every day.
It's like when you pirate movies. A good friend of mine gave me the entire Game of Thrones series, and it was cool because I never heard of it before, and I don't have HBO here on campus. So
let's all talk about how horrible pirates we are.
So I got the files from my friend, and I double-clicked them, and it started. And then I was watching it. And then I was like, that's actually really cool. Let's see if I can watch it, in better quality and watch it. And it already was in 720p. So it was good quality for a pirated series. But I was like, well, let's not be too brutal here. I mean, I usually buy my games off Steam. I try to be honest and support the programmers. I mean, as a game design student here on campus, you know how much effort you put into creating something. So I tried to get the series legit, and I was looking at it. I either buy the DVD set, which Season 2 hasn't come out yet, and I have Season 2 for my friend. And at that point, Season 2, I mean, Season 3 is right now a thing, but...
Season 3 is going to be big.
Yeah, and I was watching it, I was like, wow, this seems really cool. So I either buy the DVD set, which was completely overpriced. I was like, well, no, let's not do that. And then the only other reason for me was to either get HBO or watch it online for some third-party website that wasn't really good. So I was like, well, I guess that's a special case. So I looked around. I wanted to watch the new Batman movie, right? And it just came out on DVD. And now I watched it at a friend's house because he got it on DVD. And you know how I said that I double-clicked the file and it started playing from the intro of the series? Yeah, buy a DVD and you have 15 minutes of trailers and unskippable weird movie menus. And I hate that. It's like you get constantly reminded when you buy a DVD, by the way, if you copy this DVD, you're gonna get sent to prison because you're a terrible person. And if you pirate it, you get the thing you paid money for right in front of you and you can play it right away. And that's the same with games.
Let's try and bring this back to video games here.
Well, no, it's piracy. That's what I'm talking about.
I guess
they make it worse and worse, and give us more and more reasons to actually pirate games and other contents in general. Valve
took a really good stance on this. They said that piracy is not a user problem. You do not prevent piracy with DRM. Piracy is a
marketing problem.
It is a user interface problem. Basically, it is a ease of use problem. Steam was their solution to that. People were pirating games from all over the internet. I was one of them. But this is back before I had a gaming PC. I had a Windows 98 PC, and I was like, I can play a game, kind of, not really. So I didn't really keep any of them or play them. But the fact remains that I stopped doing that as soon as Steam showed up, because
it solved all those problems.
It solved all my problems. I can now have all my games in one place. This Steam is DRM. A lot of people forget that Steam's DRM. If you don't have Steam running, at least when you start the game, Steam can shut off halfway through the game and it won't matter. But you have to have it for that initial activation. And people take that, they're okay with that, because Steam offers additional features. It's DRM that actually adds features. It has the overlay
that is really useful.
It's got the overlay. It's got the friends list. It's got a built-in store. It's got built-in... I can go on.
The workshop,
sales and offers. You can get games for $1.
Yeah, I mean, the prices obviously are much, much better on PC. But then, modding Skyrim, which I thought, because, I mean, I know you do that a lot.
Yeah, I do it. The custom
have crazy mods
installer
on there. But I was thinking about, because I got Skyrim, but my PC is mediocre gamer PC. So I got Skyrim and I thought I should put a couple of mods in there. And I went to the Steam Workshop, I clicked subscribe on a couple of mods.
That's it.
Boom, they were there. And it was that easy.
The Steam Workshop,
totally
I think the Steam Workshop, I would love to see more games embrace it. Because not only does it allow you to mod your game, for instance, I mod Skyrim through the custom way. But that means if I go onto another computer, that my Skyrim save files on the other computer, because they're synced through Steam Cloud, which is another feature of Steam.
Oh yeah, Steam Cloud is nice.
That it'll have the same file, but I won't have the mods anymore. Versus if you use Steam Workshop, if you subscribe to them, meaning once you install that game on another computer, it'll automatically install all the mods with it and the save files.
We should totally rename this show to the PC Master Race, and we just keep exploiting how awesome Steam is. I mean, because I was just thinking about it. If you actually
the problem is the majority of us here are PC gamers.
No, I'm a PS3 gamer.
PS3 gamer. What are you?
I am everything except for PC.
So he is
GTFO, my friend.
So he is the peasant here.
He's the peasant. PC Master Race.
I am the Master Race.
PC Master Race.
No, I have nothing against consoles. I just hate it when
I used to own an Xbox and I liked it.
I just hate it when people say, "Oh, but the consoles are better." They're not. They're flat out objectively not, but they're cheaper. I will freely admit to that. They are the cheapest solution and the easiest solution.
Anyway, what I was going to get at is you mentioned Steam was a DRM, but then again, also, you can play Steam games offline. It is completely possible to play Torchlight 2 by yourself.
That is one of the
offline.
things, though, I don't like about Steam, is that it's finicky in that regard, because in order to go into offline mode, you have to be online and set it to offline.
Well, yeah, but if
if you have no internet connection beforehand, you can actually set it up. It automatically sets up as offline.
It didn't work that way for me. I always tried it without internet
Steam
connection.
offline mode, you can only have your account on offline mode on one PC at a time.
Okay, that
it's
might
like
be why.
I have a gamer PC and I have my tablet. So if I have offline mode on my tablet, I can't use offline mode on my PC.
But here's the thing. That might be a little bit weird because they're trying to keep the security at a decent level. But it is possible. My friend just he got Skyrim and he liked the game because we talk about Skyrim a lot, but that's just because it's a great game with a lot of content.
Yeah, that and Dragonborn DLC came out, so it's relevant again.
Yeah, he asked me about because he just got his he's new to this entire gamer thing, and his friend got him a good gamer PC, and he asked me, how is it possible that if I buy Skyrim now, because my internet's going to be cut for a week because I'm getting Google Fiber or whatever as a beta user or whatnot, is it possible for me to play Skyrim offline? All you got to do is this and this, and then you can play it offline, and it'll save your files, and it'll upload them as soon as you connect back, so it's on the Steam cloud and all of that.
And worst case scenario, if you can't get Steam to work, the file is literally on your computer.
Exactly.
This isn't something that's in a remote, like Diablo 3. This is brought up several times. When they shut down the server for Diablo 3, that's it. No one can ever play that game again. You know who can still play it? Pirates. Because they have their own server set up. You know who can't play it? Legitimate consumers.
And that's exactly what we're talking about with this entire piracy. It's the same. It's kind of similar with the...
It's a user problem because you can't... Much. Because, once, like we've already said again and again, you cannot play on that game anymore versus the pirates who can. The pirates get a better experience.
All right, well, let's keep on going here. Talked about piracy for a long time, I think. All the
producers
of
covered that long
games,
enough.
You're going to slowly figure out our address and slowly
nukes. Once again, let's talk about the weather instead, guys. We're having such awesome weather today. Come on, look at these clouds, this awesome sunny sky.
Actually, talk about the
nice
weather.
Breeze. Do you know where it's the nicest? It's in the East Coast. They're having splendid weather.
Oh, yes. My friend over there, she has never been snowboarding before. So, apparently they're getting the blizzard tonight. And she's going to have her first time sledding. And they're looking for things to sled with. And I offered their laptop.
So, if you're in the East Coast...
Way to keep the show technologically relevant.
Well, while we go off topic, I am from CT. So, I was here in CT before I actually came here to South Dakota. And all my friends are like, oh my god, school got canceled because of snow. This is insane. Oh my god. I'm like, oh, well, I'm in South Dakota. And we have snow, but only because it didn't melt from 3 weeks ago. So
and it rained yesterday, and that made the whole road slick because it all froze in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's
from
really
all
weird.
the snow
People
from 3 weeks ago.
When I said I was going to Dakota State University, I was like, wow, you're going to die at the end of the world. Now I'm having a blast here with really good weather. I'm just wearing my leather jackets and occasionally my gloves, and they're freezing their ass off over there. It's quite funny.
You can definitely tell who's not from around here. Yes, you, Mustafa. when you're walking down the campus and you can see there's some people that have full face mask, 2 layers of jackets and a scarf around their neck.
3 layers.
3 layers and a scarf around their neck, and then there's guys out there in short sleeve t-shirts.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, same here. I wear a leather coat now. But.
YOLO.
Yeah, actually, we've been talking for a long ass time, so I think we should get to the end of the show. So we have more stuff here.
Well, you guys all know that the Grammys are tomorrow, right?
The what?
The Grammys.
Actually.
Music awards.
Wait, what, my granny?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, Journey's soundtrack has actually been nominated for, I think it's Best Music of Visual Media. That's amazing because that's the first time that video games have actually been put on the same level as
that's
movies
actually
and
a really big
television.
step.
That is neat.
Yeah.
That is nice. I did not know that.
Yeah, I read that. I think
Journey is the game where you basically just jump around in the desert, right?
Yeah, basically.
Don't spoil anything though for those
Whoa,
people.
That's literally all the game is.
Well,
as far as I know from watching trailers.
It's a the PS3 exclusive. So
it is a
I'm the only one
PS3
that's played
exclusive.
it.
Yeah,
God damn it.
But from what I've heard from a lot of people, it's really a unique experience. And I personally was actually planning on buying it sometime this week and playing it. But it's it's great to see that that's getting into the main media now, and we're seeing that more and more in games.
Exactly, they're being considered much more.
There's a ton of soundtracks that are really amazing, and they just don't get any recognition. I mean, Gears of War has a great soundtrack, and while it is on one side a brutal game about killing people the most brutal way possible and thumbing their face off, the soundtrack's amazing. Like, I have it on my iPod.
Oh, well, like Kingdom Hearts opening theme song. That was amazing.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Or, I don't know, you guys probably never even heard of this, the Gianna Sisters, Twisted Dreams. It has a fantastic soundtrack, a mix of harmonious, like, violins and heavy death metal, like, mixed together. It is absolutely spectacular.
Right, have you ever heard of the game called Sacred?
I have not.
I have.
I think I have.
No.
Well, Sacred 2 came out for PS3 and Xbox, and inside the game they have animated concerts by real live metal bands and rock bands. It's just pretty awesome. And some of the quests are you have to help out find them and stuff.
That sounds like Brutal Legend.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, Brutal Legend was awesome.
Yes.
I mean, I just love the entire humor and music combined with the gameplay was great. I just love that.
Why don't we talk about what kind of games we've been playing this week?
I was about to say that. So at the end of the show, like usually we play about games that we recently finished and can talk about them. This show has been going on for a while. So what I finished yesterday was a great day in terms of gaming for me. I finished Darksiders finally, the first one, which I loved. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I personally think it was a great game. I never played Gears of War. I never played.
I never played Gears of War.
I'm just the biggest fan.
You're a liar.
I never played God of War simply because I don't have a PlayStation 3, and I never really played Zelda. And what people really say is Darksiders is a combination of both.
Yeah.
And I loved it. So I mean, I'm not really planning on playing God of War or Zelda, but I know that Darksiders was a great experience, and honestly, it's one of the first games that I'm actually trying to achieve 100%, even though I'm done with the main story. Usually when I'm done with the story, I'm like, alright, it was a fun game, whatever, let's put it onto a different category and play my other games, because I have tons of games. But it's really one of those games where I'm like, I should actually try and get all those, relics and all those hidden things that I haven't found before, and I just love everything about it. So any other games that were?
I played Mountain Blade Warband. It's an older game. It's indie made by, I believe it's Insomniac. No,
Insomniac makes the Ratchet and Clank series.
Isomet. No, I don't know. Well, they made the Majesty series, and they also make Mountain Blade. And basically, you're a person. You get to pick up a sword. You grab a whole bunch of people, like mercenaries, and you go off and you fight against 5 countries that are like Germany, France, England.
It's pretty fantastic combat with
civil.
No. This is like a hack and slash RPG without the magic.
I think the one you're thinking of is Napoleon War.
No. I'm not talking about the Total War series. I'm talking about What's this
Napoleon
game
War
where you really have the option to play around as a musician on the battlefield?
No, that's Napoleon War.
Is it?
Yep.
Yes, that's a expansion pack for Mountain Blade.
Oh, Mountain Blade, yeah.
Yep.
That's
exactly what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it's called
to be a
Napoleon
drummer
War.
and you just walk around kill each other.
I saw a mode in there that really interested me, where you just, if you die, you're dead, and you just have to wait till the end of the battle. So it was really, really tense. I think that sounds really interesting. At the same time, I can see that being one of the least popular modes because you just have to sit there and be the first one to die.
Yeah. Well, they also came out with another game called I forget what it's called, but it's like an MMO version of it. So it's an online. It's like online and
War of the Roses.
That's it. Yep, yeah. War of the Roses.
Yeah,
it's almost like Modern Warfare, but it's set in olden times, Sword and Shield.
So it's like nothing like Modern Warfare because it's not a first-person shooter.
No, it's first person.
Oh, then you're thinking of
no, it's War of the Roses.
War of the Roses is in third person. There's another one. It's called Chivalry.
All right.
Chivalry is the one.
Oh, that one is great though.
It's
like Counter-Strike but with swords.
That one, that system actually was really nice. The combat system there. Takes a little bit of getting used to.
Yeah, it's a little bit unique, but I was playing with a couple of friends, and they really were trying to get me into that. And
I like the different variety. I think they did a really good job providing decent melee combat, where you didn't just have 2 moves, swing vertically and horizontally. They gave you a stab. And that was a little bit complicated, but I'm glad they introduced a tutorial to ease you into it. It's something a lot of multiplayer games don't do. They just kind of drop you right in.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. Well, another game that I finished here, there was Saints Row the Third, and wow, I don't even know what to say, man. This game is insane in the best possible way. Like,
Saints Row the Third was one of the great open world games that I actually ever finished and I enjoyed. Like, we all know GTA. You play the first 2 missions and you just draft off into crashing as many cars into one house as possible. But Saints Row the Third, I actually finished the story and it was awesome. I don't even know.
Most of the great thing is most of that crazy shit that you do in Grand Theft Auto. You know, you're running from the police, blowing up mass amounts of cars. That's what that is what Saints Row the Third's story is.
Yeah.
It's oh shit, I fell out of a plane in a tank.
It's like,
well, I guess now I'll drive around and guess what? Zombies.
Exactly, that's exactly. And it's kind of like Just Cause 2 where in open world games all you want to do is mess around, you know, I haven't gone there, let's go there. Oh, there's like a gas container, let's just blow it up. That's also like Just Cause 2. You run around and you blow shit up.
I will say, mission. I got that game on sale for $3, and I'd say that's the best $3 I have ever spent.
Same here.
Especially.
That game is so crazy. If you haven't tried it, pick it up.
Definitely.
I think
it's obviously the co-op mode.
I think it's
really
$10 to $15 on Steam now.
We talking Just Cause 2 or
Just Cause 2? Yeah. Saints Row the Third, sadly, is way down there. I know that even in the THQ Humble Bundle, they were giving it away for like $5.
$5.
Yeah, $5.
And that included like 4 or 5 other of their games.
But you still buy it though in memory of THQ.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about it last time, so there's no need to. We knew that. So anyone else play any games that you want to talk about?
Anything interesting?
Well, I haven't been playing too many games recently because I've been just not
busy with life, the chicks and the stuff.
Exactly.
All that life stuff.
Yeah.
All
that stuff that ruins my game.
Yeah, what I've played recently is Doom. And no, not Doom 3, I mean Doom.
Like the original?
The original
yes.
Doom. On the Xbox 360.
Props.
Yes, that's what I've been playing. And it's like, this was interesting. I know it almost gave me a seizure because of the colors, but hey, it's Doom.
We all remember the time our daddy set us on their lap and said, "Son, this is how you blow a man's face off."
No, I don't remember that, actually.
Really? Maybe we had very different childhoods. It was probably different in Germany.
Yeah, in Germany, my first game was...
Get drunk?
Getting drunk.
Yeah, it was a drinking game.
First game was a drinking game.
Son, when you grow up, this is what you do for a lifetime.
It still involved Doom, though. They're like, if you're not able to shoot his face off in 2 shots, you got to drink the whole bottle.
It's like this is what you do in your free time. This is your hobby now, and you just learn like card games and drinking games.
Or for every shot you fire, you actually have to take a shot.
Think about all those people on Modern Warfare with
machine
guns.
Hey, spray around and you'd have real life death.
Spray, man. That's all console gaming shooters are about.
They're drunk.
But this week I have been playing mostly Skyrim because I've been itching to get that new Dragonborn DLC. But another one I've been playing is Sleeping Dogs. Have any of you guys played Sleeping Dogs?
Yes, I have played it.
It's kind of like GTA, but it's a little bit better graphics.
Asian GTA.
It's Asian GTA. Yeah.
It's really nice. I like the combat system. It's kind of Arkham City-esque, where you have it succumbs to the whole press Y to counter everything, which is it's nice on the harder difficulties. On the easier ones, it tends to become problemsome because you just hit Y repeatedly and you kill everything. But I would say it's definitely a good game to pick up if you're just on a budget, because I know it's getting cheaper. Wait for it to go on sale. I'm sure it will. It's got a big open world to explore, beautiful graphics. It has the same thing as Just Cause 2 does, where you can jump from car to car. Not quite as crazy because you can't jump on top of the car. You just jump out of your car into their car.
When you just said that, anyone remember the game Wheelman?
I do not.
Oh, I've heard about it.
I remember in Germany when my friend had my Xbox modded and we can play burn games. One of the games was called Wheelman. It's Vin Diesel. And this game was so cheap, but it was so much fun. Like, no one probably knows this, but literally all you do is it's an open world game, and you most of the time you drive a car or a bicycle and you jump from them, and then you just drive, and then there's some parts where you actually shoot, like in a warehouse with a gun and stuff. But the most part is about driving and shooting. And oh my god, I just remembered this, and it just jumped in my head. That game was so much fun, but it was so overrated, so it got completely lost.
Yeah.
I actually have to look if that's on PC, because I'm burning to play that now. Holy shit, that is really weird. I have to write that down.
Emulation. But if no one else has a game they played, then maybe we should start on our last segment here, which is host topics. Who would like to start first?
Well, I already got said, so.
Yeah, we kind of went through
I guess I will bring up mine, which is The Elder Scrolls Online. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
Have any of you been following it?
I signed up for the beta.
Same here. That's another big thing to announce. The beta sign-up is available. You can go on to elderscrollsonline.com and sign up for it.
Yeah, I watched the videos on YouTube. I don't really, like I said, I mean, I tried Star Wars The Old Republic, but only because it's a really great single-player experience, too. I really don't like MMORPGs that much, especially when it gets to grinding mobs till infinity.
Well, that's one of the things that newer MMORPGs are trying to defeat.
Yeah,
exactly. Is grinding. Once again, I'm a Guild Wars 2 fanboy. Guild Wars 2, very little grinding in there. They tend to give you a level up every hour. You know, it's that constant rewards incentive.
Yeah,
I believe we talked about that in class.
I feel like
Miller
from the
box,
screenshots
Skinner
I've
box.
seen so far, I mean, I would love to see Skyrim being a multiplayer game. Which exists, but is extremely complex to install.
The mod isn't that, and you can't really interact with the other player at all, and you can't do quests together or kill mobs together.
So I would love to see that, but I'm really thinking that it's probably going to be the same MMORPG that actually happens. You have a bar at the bottom, and you have a couple of abilities, and you press 1 through 9 to activate.
Well, they are doing some things different. They're going like the Terra Online route, where left click is to swing your sword, you hold down left click and you do a power attack, right click is to bring up your shield or use your offhand weapon. So they are using the same combat as Skyrim, but they also have 5 bar items that you can use. You know, for instance, it's been revealed already, like a scorpion style, grabbing, pulling someone in is one of your moves. And the big announcement they made this week that made a lot of people mad, including myself, was they decided to remove first-person mode from the game. Thank you.
No,
I couldn't stand.
It's not the Elder Scrolls without.
Yeah, that was the entire reason I was in. That was the one unique feature this MMO had, to be honest. Because all the other features it's listed, I've seen it done again and again.
Exactly.
I've seen the
Guild
AI.
Wars 1, you could actually go first-person mode.
Well, but
most of those
like World of Warcraft,
you
can go
first-person
mode.
But it's not first-person mode. It's just a camera centered in your head.
We're talking first-person mode where you see your hands, you run around like this, you actually see yourself attack.
That's what's happening.
I want to unsign out.
What do you mean that's what's happening?
Guild Wars 1, that's what they did.
Really? I played that game. I never knew about that.
Yeah, you basically zoom it all the way in, and it looks like your head. You see your weapon across.
So it has been done before. It can be done. It's not a technical thing, and I've seen it. We've seen it done in other games too, such as PlanetSide 2 would be a very recent example. You can go first-person mode in a game very easily, and there's even been, I believe it's called Mortal Online, is another game that actually did a fantasy MMO that had first-person combat. Why they did it, they decided to remove it, I'm not sure.
All right.
Well, would you guys like to comment on that at all?
No, it sounds really interesting. I mean, obviously, I'm not a big MMORPG fan, hence why I played the Star Wars thing, because it was more of a single-player experience.
Yeah, it really is.
Guild Wars Master Race.
I mean, I tried to get my my roommate into playing Star Wars with me, but somehow I ended up playing on his Guild Wars account, so I'm actually... God damn, I really have to start getting some sponsors from those guys. We're just mentioning way too much.
ArenaNet, if you're listening, I will totally whore myself out to you.
Guild Wars Master Race.
I will become your marketing machine.
Yeah, with the many views we're getting.
Guild Wars Master
Anyway, so that sounds interesting. Like I said, there isn't a lot of stuff to look at, which is really important for me for especially games. Like when they promise you a lot. We had this big discussion about the War Z. If there's nothing to look at, I don't care.
Yeah, and
you can promise me a pink car in Saints Row the Third that shoots bunnies as rockets. I won't believe you until you show it to me.
Yeah.
In Saints Row the Third, that probably would be a real thing at some point. But if you would say it in GTA...
I think it already is. They have the Genki cannon. You can shoot people out of it. Same thing.
Oh, yeah, right.
And anything else you find, so...
You can drive ice cream trucks and shoot grenades out of it. So
yeah.
Close enough.
Close enough. Same thing.
All right.
But anyone else have anything to say? I mean, what were you guys looking for in a game like The Elder Scrolls Online? Does it disappoint you at all?
Well, the one thing that Skyrim really had was it had this do whatever you want kind of feeling to it. It had the storyline and it had some scripted events. Like the second you enter right on the first time, you hear the dialogue about how this blacksmith creates more swords and that kind of thing. But it really had that, like you mentioned last time, you can walk off wherever you want and just do side quests for levels and levels and don't even care about the story. And that's what I would love to do, which I know freaking Guild Wars 2 has that too. But I'm saying MMORPGs really...
Guild Wars Master Race.
The MMORPGs really have that tendency to have the same scripted questing, the same time for the same factions.
And the problem I think you're getting to is that, for instance, in Skyrim, if I don't like a guy, I can go up and stab him. In an MMO, you can't do that because that would ruin the experience for all the other players. You can't just go do whatever you want because it has to be something that would not affect all the other players.
Exactly.
Which is where I see this game just being insert generic fantasy MMO. I mean, have you guys seen the trailer, the Alliance trailer?
Yes, I have.
Will the guys talk about the... Will the guys talking about the different factions?
No, it's a video. It shows the 3 alliances. They're assaulting a fortress, and in the end, they all meet together and circle around. There's a thief who draws a bridge out from out of nowhere and launches it across, and then he does an Altair and just swings himself across. But the thing a lot of people have commented on is that you could put any single name in front of that trailer, and it would make sense. It did not look like Elder Scrolls at all.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was trying to get at. Alright, well, this show has been really long. We should probably end it really soon. So, yeah, things we should mention, I guess we mentioned a lot. Like I said, the Black Light Dance is going on here on campus. That's probably a thing if you kind of look like that kind of thing. It's got to be in your underground, Black Light Dance, so clean your pants and stuff like that. Because people will see stuff under black light. And, well, yeah, that's going on. And obviously...
I guess we can't go, guys.
Yeah. No one knows how to clean clothes here. Just burn your hands and buy new ones. Well, yeah, that's going on campus. And obviously we have the Game Design Club meeting every Tuesday at 7 and the Game Club meeting every Thursday, just around the evening. Well, that's going on. That's basically it. Anything else? Alright, yeah, we had a really packed show today, so thanks for listening, guys, and we hope you tune in next time when it's time for the BlinkCast.
Alright, see you guys next time.
Later.
See ya.